Well, Tartaria was everywhere, and history is fabricated, completely fabricated, all of it. We used to think, well, you know, the Dark Ages, we don't know what that is. We realised that they invented the Dark Ages and just put that in there to push a whole bunch of stuff back in the past. And we realised, you know, some of history might be wrong, but no, it's all fabricated. The whole lot is fabricated. An interesting thing is the architecture we find all around the world, in all of our cities, that old Gothic-style architecture, incredibly intricate design, and people look at it and say, oh, that's just the way they did things in the old days. A lot of those buildings, like, they're so beautiful. The design of those buildings is so beautiful. And think about it, if we lived in a feudal culture, if we lived in a culture where you had to go out and work for a living and earn a wage in order to pay to be alive, you would never have had the time or the inclination to construct buildings that look like that and function in the way they did. These buildings were created as artistic statements. I mean, they were functional, they were power sources, they were generators. They used to generate their own free electricity, all sorts of things. But they were constructed in such a way that the beauty was a part of it. You just wanted to celebrate what you were creating. We don't do that sort of stuff anymore. Just the beauty of those buildings and the incredible complexity of those buildings is a great indication that we didn't live in this pay-to-be-alive society that we're living in now. Tartaria was all over the world. It was an advanced culture that had free energy. It was based on etheric energy, and it existed up until around about 200 to 250 years ago. We think even like the earliest would be about the mid-1700s. It maybe was destroyed, possibly even a little bit later than that. And around about 1880, the late 1800s, they repopulated the world with children. And then they taught them whatever history they wanted. And you've got to wonder where all the children came from. Just look up foundling homes and foundlings and orphan trains across the United States, across Europe. They were everywhere, children everywhere. A couple of years ago, I was reporting on all this sort of stuff. And then the fires broke out and COVID broke out, and I had to kind of leave the topic and get on to more important things that are dealing with us now. But they repopulated the world with children in the late 1800s. They were literally having, they had amusement parks where they had babies on display. They had baby raffles in Paris in 1915, trains of orphans going across the country, across the United States, orphans being sent out to Australia, New Zealand, Africa, just repopulated the whole world with children and then taught them whatever history they wanted. And now we've got to this point where they're basically harvesting all the souls of those people. It's like they grew their herd, you know. I've often referred to the earth as a people farm. We're living in a people farm, and people don't really realize it. I think of each country as its own separate pen, and what they've done now at the end is just harvest time, and they're stock taking. They've closed all their pens, they're doing their stock take, and they're harvesting all those souls that they can get, leading them into the mainframe. And it's a natural progression from what happened in Tartaria. I mean, this will be the complete loss of human consciousness if they are able to lead us in there and actually able to get away with this. It will be the end of humanity. But when you really look at what we had, I mean, it's incredibly inspiring to see the art and to see the ancient history that's right there in our own cities, if you just go out and look around your city with the right eyes.